So welcome again, and this time we're updating the audio and video editing rig for 2018 and installing the EVGA GTX 1060 GPU. I was planning to update my current PC editing workstation to something more fancy and boomy in one go, but I suspect that we have to wait some more. This is because the threadripper is a bit too expensive for me right now, and I suspect the price will drop over time. I will not leave you empty-handed though. The video editing and audio recording workstation will be upgraded step by step, so let me explain. Currently I have my old setup that I bought almost 4 years ago, and I must admit it holds on pretty well. My main board is the AsRock 960GM U3S3FX. It's a Micro ATX form factor. It doesn't have the USB 3 header, and it's a 4+1 phase design. It's not made to handle overclocking. It doesn't have the radiator on the VRM. In case you didn't know, it's the Voltage Regulator Module, so it can throttle back the CPU, decreasing its performance. And this is so true here, as my CPU is the AMD FX 8350, the black version that can easily be overclocked. It's power hungry and it heats up a freaking lot. I'm using the stock cooler for the CPU and it can get loud at times. I would be better off buying a aftermarket CPU radiator like the Cryorig H7. So now the first upgrade on the list is the graphics card. Currently I have the AMD Radeon HD 5770 1GB version. Yeah, it's a 5-year-old card and it holds up super well, giving me 3 screens simultaneously, one of which is UHD 4K 60 frames per second. The problem is that it doesn't support CUDA processing that the Adobe software uses to speed up the render and preview times in Adobe Premiere Pro. So yeah, there are many versions of the GTX 1060 graphics card. Different manufacturers are producing their variants. Well, the GTX 1060 is a good 1080p gaming card, released in 2016, and I'm sure you know all the specs already. It will play most titles in 60 frames per second at high details. If you want to future-proof yourself for 2018 and 2019, you need something more. Get the GTX 1070. The EVGA Mini Superclocked uses the 6-pin power connector. It's good for me as I don't have the newest power supply and I plan to reduce the scale of the system to the minimum. The EVGA for the win and Gigabyte G1 Gaming and the Asus Republic of Gamers Strix are all variants of the GTX 1060 and use 8-pin PCIe power cable. The last two have backplates that might help in heat dissipation when overclocked. They also have 2 or 3 fans installed. This might increase their overclocking capabilities. I am not planning to overclock, and that is why I got the EVGA Superclocked that is clocked already to a higher standard than normal. Yeah, it's got only 1 fan and it's short, so it will fit my case, the Micro ATX board, nicely. So now, just for fun, let's compare the render times in Adobe Premiere between the AMD HD 5770 and the GTX 1060. Let's see what's the difference rendering exactly the same clip. The old AMD GPU did it in 5 minutes 31 seconds, and the GTX 1060 did it in 4 minutes 54 seconds. Well, probably the old GPU wasn't even involved in the rendering process because it doesn't support CUDA. So let's just say that the GTX 1060 helped the FX 8350 and the 16 gigs of RAM to render the sequence 37 seconds faster. In the next video I will be installing a new motherboard because this one developed some problems with the USB 3 connectors and I don't have any USB 3 headers available. The new board is also going to be a cheap 4+1 phase design, but this time we will have a radiator on the VRM. So keep tuned and see you in the next video.